Hi, it's Lulu, compulsive overeater. I want to discuss, we all talk about the steps going forward. You have step one, I admit I'm powerless over food. My life is unmanageable. Yes, yes. Step two, there is something there that can help me. Step three, I think I'll give this something a try, right? Step four, I'm going to find out what's blocking me from this something. And then step five is I admit the facts and I kind of spill my deep dark secrets. And then step six is I start to feel the blockage removed. The blockage is loosening up. Step seven, I just ask God to take them. As things are becoming unblocked, it's like, God, just take them away. Step eight is a willingness to fix the damage. And step nine is wait a minute. Is fixing the relationships, is not fixing them, repairing the relationships to the best of my ability. Step 10 is when I don't want a step 4 list again. I don't want a resentment list again from my past life. I want that to be ancient history. I don't want to be a historian. I want to take each moment at a time that is troubling me, and I'm going to do a step 10 on those things so I can remain unblocked. Step 11 is where I enlarge my spiritual life. It's like, you got to do it. You got to enlarge it. It's progress, not perfection, not with the food. Some people say progress, not perfection with the food. I would beg to differ on that. I would say perfection with the food, progress, not perfection on my spiritual journey. Well, it's a good thing, because what is spiritual perfection? That's God. And guess what? That ain't me. I'm not Mother Teresa. I'm not, I'll use her as a good example. I'll use a lot of these spiritual gurus as a good example. It just keeps my my journey directed in a certain way. But and then step 12 is service. Being useful, being of service, in and out of program. So they're in divine order. They're just in divine order. And they're also in divine order when you consider them backwards. I love this. So step 12, I've had a spiritual awakening. I'm trying to help other people with their food addictions. And I'm practicing all these new wonderful principles, like these new virtues, these new qualities that I've been practicing these principles in all my affairs. You see, it's just like there, we just cut you just a tiny bit. And it even says, try to carry the message to other people. It doesn't say, you get out there, carry that message, and be nice everywhere you go, every minute of the day. It's practice that, try this. That's how gentle it is. And so how could I possibly be in a space to be interested in just being a nice person, to be as delightful as I can be in the company of others? How could that be possible for me? How can I help other people? I think I need to have a really rich spiritual life, which brings me to step 11. So step 11, right before step 12, enlarging my spiritual life, sought through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God as I understand him, praying only for his will for me and the power to carry that out. No. Yeah. You see, I'm not asking for stuff. I'm asking for clarity. So the more I understand that God is going to give me clarity, God's not going to give me the boyfriend or the fancy car or the next whatever that I want, because I'm all set, right? So there you go. I'm going to enlarge my spiritual life, stay connected, God grow, God grow. Then doesn't that make me go right into step 12 and say, oh yeah, baby, here I am, ready to do my step 12. So how do I enlarge my spiritual life in step 11? Well, ironically, it's from step 10s, which is right before step 11, because I clear away junk on a daily basis. Just any kind of stinking thinking I have going on about anything. It doesn't have to even be anger. I did a step 10 yesterday and sent it to my sponsor, and it's about something that might happen. I'm at the point, I like to kind of stay on the stay ahead of the game by something like, boy, when this comes up, this is how I may want to handle myself if this came up, without hurting anybody, but being authentic to myself. So as long as I keep the pipelines clean, I'm able to enlarge my spiritual life, which brings me to graciously and happily serve others. So how can I be at a space where I am going to always be on top of my resentments and my stinking thinking and taking care of it? Well, that's because I'm reaping the benefits of my step 9, which is right before step 10. Can you see I'm going through the steps backwards here? Step 9, when I've not only found out everything about myself in the way that I have engaged in life and in relationships and with people, and the way that I've processed people, places, and things, and I came to understand what happened, and I saw any harms that I've done, and I made those amends. Guess what? It makes me want to keep things clean. Here I am on step 9, clean up. I always say, like, clean up in aisle 5, just clean her up. And then when all that's clean, and that's when the promises come true, then I'm like, oh, I have a stinking thought. I'm taking care of that now because I'm clean from step 9. Well, I can't take step 9 without step 8, because step 8 is my list. It's when I carefully and thoughtfully sit down and make my list of the people that I have harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. That in itself is a process, just to find that willingness and to identify them and to identify them and to come up with the willingness. And so how do I even come up with that list? Well, there's my 6 and 7, okay? So my 7-step prayer has been designed just for me. That includes the things that are challenges in my life with the little character defects. If you don't like that word character defects, you can call them shortcomings. You can call them wrongdoings. Bill Wilson uses all 3 of those phrases in the big book, and they're all interchangeable. He figures if one seems insulting to one person, maybe they'll find another one a little bit more gentle, like, oh, what are you calling me, a defect? Like, you're telling me my character is defective? Well, no, you have shortcomings, because I think in step 6, it refers to character defects. I was just trying to find it. Like, how do I not know where the steps are? Oh, here it is. In step 6, he calls them character defects. In step 7, he calls them shortcomings. Same thing, only different. So here I am asking God to remove my shortcomings. That's because I've identified them. And that's how I make my step 8 list, by over and over and over daily, maybe twice a day, maybe 3 times a day. Taking my 7th step with God and asking God to remove these things that are objectionable about me. And how did I come up with this prayer and all the information in this prayer and to see the things I needed to work on? Well, I made a list. That's what step 6 is, right? Step 6 is a list, and it's a project in itself to actually identify this list and digest it and really be willing to want them gone, because sometimes it's like, well, how am I going to get what I want if I'm not a control freak? How am I going to get what I need? You know, like, how do you stop like calling the shots when you know everybody needs to listen to you because you're right? You know, this, it's like, oh yeah, you might want to put that on your step 7 list because that's a shortcoming. That's not going to serve me well in my life. So I find the willingness to want that to go. So how did I come up with that step 6 list? Well, my sponsor helped me when I did my step 5. Step 5 was when I read my history, the history of Lulu in relation to the world. And that's how I found that list. And I didn't find out what was wrong with everybody else. I found out what was wrong with me. I can't change the world, and I don't want to anymore because I'm not even capable, and I'm not qualified, and I don't want the job. It's a big job. It's God's job. It's not my job. My job is to work on me. When I think something needs to change, if it's outside of me, it's me. If it's me, it's me. If it's outside of me, it's me. So how did I sit down with my sponsor and do my step 5? And to have, I did my step 4, exactly how the book says to do it. I just did it piece by piece until I had all the information, everything that I wanted to know and didn't want to know about myself. There it was. And how did I even come to a space to actually sit down with the pen or the laptop and do this 4th step writing? It was when I was on my knees on step 3, when I was friggin' done. I was done with the problem. And I learned about the solution, and I decided to give the solution a try. That's how I made that list. It was the minute I got off my knees. That's when you start step 4, the minute you get off your knees. Step 3. And how did I make that decision? It was my step 2. I was like, I am insane. My thinking is insane. My thinking is not in proportion to reality. I am seeing this about food and about everything. I'm just like, I'm getting it now. I'm getting it now. And that's how I came to a place where step 3 was so magnificent and so powerful for me. And how did I even come to entertain the idea of coming to believe in a power greater than myself? I had to be in the dark. I had to be in the dark. I needed to hit the rock at rock bottom. I needed to learn about what was actually going on with me, with the things that I was depending on to give myself relief when it never worked. Like Holland says, except for the first 7 seconds, it feels good until you feel like a failure. My life was unmanageable. I was not managing my life well. I had to see that really clear. So you see how, and then when I saw that, I knew I had to do entire abstinence. And that's what gave me the clarity to do 2 through 12. So that's just like a little trip through the steps backwards that I find it pretty fascinating how they build on each other going up, and they make sense going back. Like, how could I possibly do step 11 on a daily basis if I'm missing step 10s? Makes no sense. If I'm not doing step 10s and enlarging my spiritual life, what message am I carrying? Just don't eat, just don't drink. There's a whole hell of a lot more to program than just don't eat and just don't drink. And it's here for everybody. And thank you very much.